You can't find anything good inside the wall, and you might as well make up your mind tonight once and for all that that is a fact, and that's a glimmer of authentic spiritual intelligence. Don't be afraid to leave. All your friends are going to stay there. And you watch them when you're in their home. You watch them out in the office. You watch them out shopping. You watch your friends and relatives and strangers out in that world. And you'll see people who have been building this wall so thick and so high for all these years that they have determined to live the rest of their lives inside it. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, if you will recognize the fact of where you are. Where you are is inside there. That's the first requirement for getting out and not going into imagination that you're already out. Don't go around quoting spiritual passages and think that you understand them. You don't. If you understood them, your life would be different. You wouldn't be afraid of people if you were outside that wall. If you're afraid of people, you're inside. If you're afraid of what they can do to you, you're inside. And that means that you would like to do something bad against them, because that's the only defense you know, is to strike back, is to throw the rocks out. How many rocks did you throw out today? See, you don't care about other people. You just forget the word love. You have no idea of what it means. All you do is quote love while you're tossing the rock. And of course, you're always the innocent victim, right? You never toss rocks. No, everybody tosses rocks down onto your inside of your brick wall, but you never toss any. And I'll tell you why. You never see yourself tossing them. All you see is their rocks coming into you, so you can consider yourself a victim, an innocent victim. You're so guilty you don't see your guilt. You don't see what you're doing because you're unconscious. All the time you're doing everything, you don't see it. You know not what you're doing. We're here to wake up by seeing what we're doing, by seeing that we suffer from every move we make while we're inside the wall. Let's get out. Let's show a little sanity. Start building the ladder and collecting facts. And that's the first stage. That's where your courage starts. Take the facts. It's hard on the vanity. We know that. Who wants to be told that he's wasted his life for 30, 70, 80 years? Nobody wants to be told it. We're going to do it anyway. Anything you have to go through is worth it to get out of it. And you know you're in it. I know you're in it. Go ahead and kid yourself. You're not kidding me. I know what your mind is. I know how it works. I know how defensive you are. I know how you push away truth. I know how you think you know all the answers. God has a chance with a man or a woman who no longer knows the answers, who no longer claims that his answers are the answers. When you're completely out of answers, you've given God a chance to teach you something new, something real, something permanent, something eternal.
It seems incredible to me that hardly anybody questions the way they live or why life is the way it is. I doubt if very few people do that.
Do you understand why?
No, why do so few people question?
Very simple. Because you take yourself as your own God. Human beings live inside the wall and take themselves as their own God. Now, if I worship myself, if I am the source of my own salvation, do you see the madness in that statement when people make it? Then anything outside that is threatening to take away your self-worship must be the enemy. It makes very malicious, stupid sense to people when they say, I'm not going to go outside of that wall because I'll be in danger out there. Do you see it? And by the way, do you remember the talk last Sunday about the airplane finally flying out of sight where you can't see it anymore? This question that you brought up and my answer applies to that, and I'll review that very briefly. There are certain spiritual explanations which you can hear, which you can absorb, and which you can apply. However, there are grades of them, heights of them. Some truths are higher than others. And when you get to the point of discussion where you say a person must give up his old life in order to find new life, the airplane goes out of sight very fast because he doesn't understand what it means. His mind can't comprehend it. You'll never comprehend it with your mind. You'll comprehend it when the mind gives up and it no longer worships itself. Don't you know people who say they worship truth are worshiping their own minds? They're worshiping their own thoughts. I know what I'm doing with my life. You've seen them yell like that. Don't you tell me what's right. I know what's right. And they tell you all the books they've read, all the experiences they've had. And at the same time, they're telling you how free they are. You see the hardness in their faces and in their voice. How are you going to get through to a man like that, to a woman like that? Don't try. He's responsible for seeing it for himself. You can set the facts before him, which is what these classes and books are all about. And then your responsibility ends. Why don't we take all this false responsibility that we have towards saving the world, which we can't do anyway, and take all that responsibility and the energy that's inside it toward jolting ourselves awake, toward taking one more step up the ladder so we can finally get up the top where we make the final decision. Once and for all, this is it. I've caught a glimpse of what's out there. All that freedom. I can go anywhere I want. Nothing can stop me. I'm not fixed by guilt. I'm not barred by shame. Nothing can stop me. I don't care what my past has been. When you're out there, outside that wall, you can walk anywhere you want, do anything you want, and you'll never do anything harmful, by the way, and you'll never ever feel guilty again about anything because you're not living with this false self which is loaded with guilt and falseness. You have to see yourself as you are, and at first it's going to scare the life out of you because you didn't think you were that bad. You thought you were respectable. You thought you were decent. You thought you were nice. People go around in this spiritual sleep. They have no idea of the harm they're doing to everyone they meet. I'll give you a personal example. I can't go into details on it, but I was going up the street one time, and a boy turned around and looked at me. He didn't know me. I didn't know him. Strangers. We were strangers. And that boy turned around and he shook his fist hatefully and angrily at me. And I tried to figure it out. Why would he do that? And I finally tracked it back to his father. Something in connection with his father, which still had nothing really to do with me. But I know that that man, that father, had said something to his son, and his son, who is beginning to build his protective wall of hatred, of violence, and I'm somebody, out of the blue, he shook his fist at me in hatred. And I know where it started, with his father, who was also inside the prison. That father had no idea of the evil that he passed on to his son with one or two little remarks. He will never know, and that boy will never know either, in all probability. He was just obeying the law of negative nature inside him and his own father and getting a pleasure out of it. This is the way the whole world is. People who go around telling you that they're doing good, they are doing harm. You are not going to wake up this world. How about you and your self-awakening? How about you? That's what you should be concerned with. So that you no longer going around doing harm, doing evil in the name of good. And in the name of God. Is there anything more evil than being cruel and vicious and saying you're doing it in the name of God? Can you imagine the inner condition of a man or a woman who would do that? who in the name of God and truth and religion sneers at another human being, hates another human being, tries to injure, tries to block another human being. Can you imagine the state of such a person? Don't you ever go near the wall of the person and the person inside it. Don't you go within 10 miles of a person who insists on staying inside. He's the enemy of everyone else on earth, including you. I don't care how many love words he uses. You stay away. He's not your responsibility. The wall is there, and the message from reality is trying to get through to every wall. Never mind those who want to turn up the loud radio music to blast their ears so they can distract themselves with it. Never mind the people who turn up the radio that loud so they can't hear the message trying to get through the wall. You turn your radio off. You turn your noisy mind off and learn to listen. You can be listening right here in this room tonight, and you can hear beautiful things, practical things, things that will become your strength, things that will do things for you that you can't do for yourself, that will begin to guide your life so that you don't feel helpless anymore. You won't be helpless anymore. You'll know what to do exactly. And in the practical affairs of life, running your business, taking care of the home, taking care of finances, your mind will operate correctly toward them. For one thing, you will know that mad human nature has distorted and corrupted natural earth. It has made a mockery of living here on earth, so that finances are mad, so that religion, ordinary religion, is a part of the insanity of the world. Your mind working right can see that because it's no longer a part of it. So even in practical things of daily life, your day goes forward quite smoothly, quite easily. But that's not the important part. The important part is that you have the sanity of everlasting life, the spirit of everlasting life inside you. And that spirit, by the way, then directs the mind so that it operates properly in a mad world. A sane mind operates properly in a mad world, so that you're not confused by anything out there anymore. And you're not seeking to get anything from anyone out there anymore. What can they give you but their own madness, their own darkness, their own deception, their false smiles, their pretenses of love and caring? What can a madman give you but 1,000 varieties of madness? They are not sane. Do you want to be sane? Do you want to break out of the asylum? You're learning how right here tonight.